Good
Hello.
morning. It is morning, isn't it, in South Africa?
But
How is everybody?
Good
all good
morning.
morning.
Fantastic. We've almost got a full house. We're just going to wait another 30 seconds or so, and hopefully we'll have absolutely everybody. So grab your coffees or whatever your beverage of choice is. I've got my tin mug that I picked up in South Africa the last time I was there for my coffee. Hi, Georgina. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Philip. How are you?
I'm extremely well, thank you. We have a lovely day. All those storms are coming in, apparently. So we've got that
Ah,
to look forward to.
that's the British summer for you, Phil. That's what that is. Um, and it's so lovely to see so many of our advisors here as well. Hi, guys. Nice to see you here.
Great to see everybody. Now, I'm happy if people have their microphones on or off. I really don't mind. The only thing I would say is if you've got your microphone on and you are typing, that quite often comes through. So kind of be conscious of that if you can. I'm more than happy for people to ask questions at any time. But I hope that you find this of value today, and I'm going to kind of get started rather than waste too much of your time. So first of all, hopefully we've all met before. I'm Phil Calvert, and so this is the follow-up, more detailed session following up the one we did previously a few weeks ago. What was really interesting was the challenges. We asked you for 3 specific challenges that you have when it comes to LinkedIn predominantly. And they fell into 3 very distinct categories and 1 kind of general category. And the 3 distinct categories were content, how to create content, what content to post, being confident to post content as well, and when to post content. So we'll go into that as well. The other main challenge that came up was identifying and attracting clients on LinkedIn. I mean, I guess that's why most of us are here today, because being on LinkedIn's fine, but we could be wasting a lot of time. So really, for most financial advisors, it's about actually identifying and attracting those clients to you. In many ways, if you are on LinkedIn, you should actually already be having people approaching you out of the blue, complete strangers, finding you through the search tool and getting in touch with you. And if that's not already happening, it's down to a number of things, but we're going to address each of those as we go. The third main category was creating a compelling profile. There are many people who look at LinkedIn, they still kind of see it as a glorified CV. And that's fine if you're looking for a job. My daughter is just off to university in a couple of weeks' time, but she's already getting her CV going. She's already conscious that it's her showcase. So we've got to get away from this idea that LinkedIn is actually a glorified job site. Yes, LinkedIn still makes quite a bit of its money from recruitment-related activities, but really it's better if we look at LinkedIn as more of a real-time networking platform, which sounds a bit fancy, but it's really what we're talking about is using it as a tool to interact and engage with other human beings. That good old-fashioned concept, I keep on repeating it, people by people. They always have done, and they always will do, and they particularly do it on LinkedIn. So we've got to get that one right. And then we have a general section as well, a few challenges that came up, which will cover off 1 or 2 other things on there. So what I want to do first is just sort of do a little bit of a recap on the key things that we were talking about last time. And so just bear with me if I can get this to work. There we go. Right, so hopefully you can see a slide there. Just wave if you can't see anything. So fundamentally what we're covering, how to attract more of the clients you really want on LinkedIn through compelling profile, powerful content, and proven messaging tactics. Yes, proven, that's the key bit. Key strategies that financial advisors can put in place immediately. So these are the key areas, just quickly: creating a compelling profile, creating and posting content, identifying and attracting clients, and a few general points as well. If you have not already done it, please go and take your LinkedIn health check. I will try and remember to show this again at the end at linkedinsuccess.scoreapp.com. This is a question and answer tool. In fact, it's a fantastic tool. If we've got time, I'll show you how you can use this as financial advisors as well. Simple yes, no answers, multiple choice questions, and it will run an assessment of how you personally use LinkedIn. It will give you a score at the end, and it'll give you pointers for improvements that you need to make as well. Okay, recap. How did financial advisors used to get business? Good old-fashioned referrals. You know, you're at a dinner party, someone says, I need a financial advisor. Someone else says, check out my financial advisor, they're awesome. And before the internet, we'd write it down on the napkin. Next day, we'd phone them up. Doesn't happen like that anymore. Something else gets in the way called the internet. Same question comes up. I need a financial advisor. Someone says, check out Jones & Co, they're awesome. Next day, we don't phone them up. Next day, we go onto Google first, or we go onto LinkedIn, we do a search, we want to make sure they exist, we want to see a photo of them. I mean, isn't that interesting? The whole financial planning world, we are getting better and better at qualifications and all that really good, important stuff, but it still comes down to whether or not people like the look of you. People buy people. Do they like the look of your website? And while you're on the internet, you get distracted by search results from other financial advisors. So Jones & Co, who you've been referred to, might not actually get your business. In fact, it's entirely possible that no financial advisor will get the business either. You might find a blog, you might find a YouTube channel or a podcast that really gets your attention. You might think, actually, well, maybe I don't need to go and see a financial advisor after all. So this is a really important thing that financial advisors have got to be aware of, that if we are online, we've got to stand out from the crowd, we've got to be different. And I want us to get away from this idea that this is how we should do our marketing, yeah? This idea that we've got to have our own Facebook group, got to have our own courses, multiple email newsletters, have our own blog, YouTube channel, Instagram, run. I mean, it's just nonsense. Really, the key thing is to get some focus, to know the sort of clients that you want, and then pick the lane that you know that they are in. I've used this example before. There's a financial planner in the United States, a guy called Jared Reynolds, okay? And he's the same as any other financial planner around the world, but Jared will only do business, he'll only take on clients who are into fishing. Ideally, professional bass fishing. That's how he got started. He doesn't want anybody else. He only wants people. And so he picks the lane that he knows where fishermen or people who are interested in fishing hang out. So he's still attracting clients who are accountants, who are lawyers, who are architects, everybody. But the one thing they've all got in common is fishing. So Jared doesn't bother with all this nonsense. What he bothers with, he bothers to find out where these people hang out. If we take LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, there are hundreds of groups for people who are interested in fishing. So that's where he likes to hang out as well. So if you can find something that your clients all have in common, then pick the lane. This simply isn't sustainable over the long time. Just doesn't work, okay? Oh, that's a nice typo. We've got to get away from this idea that it's all about technology. Social media is nothing to do with technology. It is everything to do with technique. It's how we interact and engage with people. Time and time again, I get financial advisors saying to me, Phil, Jones & Co, they're using YouTube, perhaps we should give that a go. And another financial advisor down the road, they're using Twitter, perhaps we should give that a go. And another financial advisor's got a podcast, maybe we should give that a go. At the end of the day, give that a go is not a plan. It's not a strategy that's going to work. Tweet and hope is never going to work. So forget about the technology, but focus really on the technique. And that is really what LinkedIn is all about. And that's why LinkedIn is trying to get across the message right now that it is a social networking site and not a social media site. And there's a really important difference. In many ways, we have, if you go back to 2003 when LinkedIn first appeared, the word social media didn't exist. It was called social networking because it was for the first time the opportunity that we could network and interact and engage with other human beings, help each other out, introduce people to one another. Social media is noise fundamentally. And if we are contributing to that noise, it's just going to make it harder and harder for us to be found. So if we can get that in our head and understand that LinkedIn is about engaging with people, supporting people, adding value to people, the sort of thing you would do in your business anyway, then the magic starts to happen. And the worst type of post that we see on LinkedIn is where someone just goes, check out my latest blog, click here. Nobody's interested, okay? And LinkedIn's algorithm isn't interested either. LinkedIn's algorithm rewards you for supporting other people. We've also got this problem that we all look the same. None of you are paid to look and behave like other financial advisors, unlike this lady here, who on the right, who is paid to look and behave like Audrey Hepburn. None of us are paid to look and behave. So LinkedIn is a fantastic opportunity for us to differentiate ourselves as much as we possibly can. So I think I mentioned this during the first session. The single biggest mistake that financial advisors make on LinkedIn is not fully completing their profile. So that was one of the key challenges that came up, fully completing profiles. So we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at that. Remember I showed you this guy? This is Art. Art runs an office supplies outlet in Milwaukee in the United States. And Art figures that every single office supplies outlet around the world, let alone in Milwaukee, they all look the same. They all sell the same stuff. In terms of pricing, it's a race to the bottom. So Art figures that he's got to try and differentiate himself. So he uses himself as his key differentiator. And when we look at his LinkedIn profile, we see that is crammed full of smart aleck stuff. This is stuff straight off Art's profile. And, initially you might think, well, he's just taking the mickey. He's not really taking the site seriously. Actually, he's taking it very seriously indeed, because he knows that if people buy into him, they will more than likely want to look further at his website, actually take a trip to his outlet. So it's about differentiating ourselves, okay, through ourselves. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that we all become wisecracks. I'm not suggesting that we all need to have videos of us with spinning bow ties on or anything like that. What I am saying is we just want to try and get something of us out there onto our LinkedIn profile. So if you were creating a LinkedIn profile from scratch today, one of the things I might be thinking about doing is getting a sheet of paper and just writing some bullet points about you. What do you care about as a person? What are your passions? What are your hobbies? Something about you perhaps as a child. What influenced you as you grew up? What brick walls did you face in your life that at some point you managed to climb over? Just run a few bullet points that reveals something of yourself. And if you can weave that into your LinkedIn profile, the simple fact of the matter is that human beings are hardwired to listen to stories. When we lived in caves, we didn't have a big plasma TV on the wall. We sat around a fire and all we did was listen to stories of our forefathers, the great hunt that went wrong, the great hunt that went well. All we did was listen to stories. And as human beings, that is still fundamentally what we're about. And if you can manage to get some of that human side to you into your LinkedIn profile, my goodness, it makes a difference. And what's really interesting, quite often when people do get in touch with you for the first time, somebody you've never met before, they will often refer to something they've picked out on your profile. I think I mentioned in the first presentation, for a while, quite a few years ago, I held the title of World's Best Gin and Tonic Maker because I entered a competition using a recipe that John Tanqueray himself gave me many, many years ago. And I put that on my profile. I don't think it's still on my profile, but time and time again, I would get people saying, "Hi, Phil, I just see that you were the world's best gin and tonic maker. Tell us how to do it." So those little human things, people just latch onto. You've got something in common, and away you go. That's how relationships go. So we've seen what's on Art's profile. These are the sort of words that we have on our profiles, and they really don't jump off the page, do they? In fairness to you, every year LinkedIn brings out a list of the most overused words on profiles, and this is the current list. And I'm sure we could all tick off some of those, but it really doesn't differentiate us or help us to stand out from the crowd at all. So what we might do just quickly now, because this one thing, just do this one thing, will make an immediate and measurable improvement to your visibility on LinkedIn. So it's going to take 2 minutes to do this. See how quickly you can do this. But what I would urge you to do is to do it again slowly in your own time. What I'd like you to do right now is scribble out a list of 12 keywords that if someone typed these words into the LinkedIn search box, hopefully you would appear high in the results. So a keyword could be financial planning in Johannesburg. That could be one keyword. If you focus on financial planning for fishermen or people who fish for bass, pension planning for bass fishermen is one keyword, yeah? So let's just take a couple of minutes right now, see if you can come up with a dozen keywords that hopefully would lead to you, someone type them into the search box. So I'm going to set my little timer here, and away you go. Now, if you are in a very, very niche market, like financial planning for bass fishermen, 12 words might be quite tricky. So if you can come up with 7 or 8, 10, that's fine. Okay, give you 30 seconds more. So if you have colleagues, this is also a useful exercise to do with them as well, just to see if they come up with similar words. Brainstorm backwards and forwards, see what you come up with. If you can't remember them all right now, that's absolutely fine, but just kind of think about this on an ongoing basis. Now, the next thing you need to do, if you could do this, please, is to number them in order of importance. So the single most important keyword is number 1. So the next thing you need to do is to take the top 5 keywords go down to the local tattoo artist and have them tattooed on your heart. Or even on your face mask. I mean, here's a marketing thing for you. Look what I was sent. It's my face mask. So for the rockers amongst you, you can have them tattooed, have them put on your face mask. Those 5 keywords are just critical for you. In many ways, you want to print them out, stick them on the wall, and never mind LinkedIn, but whenever you are using any kind of social media, or if you're blogging, or if you're doing YouTube videos or anything, use those 5 keywords on a regular basis. They are you, okay? They are you when you are online. The remaining keywords, just use them here and there. But the point about the top 5 keywords is what you need to do is you need to try and then edit them into as many sections of your LinkedIn profile as you possibly can. The algorithm will spot this. So as many of all the sections of your LinkedIn profile, try and get those top 5 keywords into every single section. Now, what you could do, the easy way, is just copy and paste them in. The algorithm will still work that way, but far better is you weave them into some flowing prose. Weave them into the stories that you tell if you possibly can. Having done that little exercise, there are some other keywords that you might want to just sort of consider when you do this little exercise a bit more carefully. Think about the services you offer, maybe get some keywords for those, maybe some keywords related to the technical skills that you have, cash flow modeling, remote advice. That's a key one right now, remote advice, virtual financial advice. I really would get that into your profile now. I saw a financial planner in the UK the other day. You know, at the very top of LinkedIn, there's a big photo banner image. She has changed her banner image, and there's a picture of her sitting in front of her screens with a client, and it says, now offering remote financial planning. So let's not just assume that people know that we offer online financial advice. Actually tell people as well, just remind them, because they might not have concern to them. Also think about keywords for the industries or people you serve, whether it's healthcare, law, accounting, whatever. Maybe get a couple of industry buzzwords in there, not too many, but some people are typing in specific acronyms and buzzwords into the LinkedIn search box. And maybe some other skills that you might have as well. You could create some keywords around that. And again, make sure if you operate in a particular city or a particular part of the country, make sure that that is in your keywords as well. Really important. Now, somebody mentioned hashtags as one of their challenges as to what it is. I'm going to assume just for the moment that not everybody fully understands what hashtags do. Because they are actually extraordinarily important on LinkedIn now. As well as choosing 12 keywords, you also want to choose 3 hashtags. Now, what hashtags do is 2 things. And hashtags work on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and they are literally, as of last week, they've suddenly become very important on Facebook as well. So maybe you got up at 5 a.m. this morning and you went for your morning run, as you do, and you got back in and you decided that it was important that you tell the world that you'd just been for a run, and you went onto Twitter or you went onto LinkedIn and you typed in morning run done, ready to face the world. Hashtag fitness. Hashtag smug. Something like that. Really what you're doing is, by putting hashtag fitness after your post, you are adding emphasis to what you've just written. But what you are also doing is you are adding your tweet or your post into the algorithm so that people who are using social media to search for posts relating to fitness, lots of people will just go onto LinkedIn or they'll go onto Twitter and they'll type into the search box hashtag fitness. And if you have put hashtag fitness after your post, it will make it much more likely that your post will appear in their search results. Now, people are doing this on LinkedIn right now. In fact, you can now follow hashtags. If you go onto LinkedIn right now and you type in hashtag pensions and hit enter, LinkedIn will show you all the posts on LinkedIn that have got hashtag pensions in that post. but it will also invite you to follow, literally click a button that says follow #pensions. And when you click the follow button, an interesting thing happens. You are telling the LinkedIn algorithm that pensions is a topic that you're interested in. The news feed will also change, and it will only show you content related to pensions. So it's a really important point now that when you post on LinkedIn, whether you're posting comments on other people's stuff or whether you're putting your own stuff on there, that you make your post and then you add #pensions and maybe 2 others as well. So choose your 12 keywords and also choose 3 hashtags as well. Really important that you do that, okay, and use those hashtags. But it's particularly important that you go through the process of typing #investments into the search box, hit enter, then click follow #investments. And you're sending a message to the LinkedIn algorithm that investments is a topic that you're interested in. Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay, the second, what I might do is in a minute, I might just run through my own profile as well. We'll show it on the screen so you can see some of this stuff in action as well. Next thing that was really, really important to, well, most of you, was creating content. And I'm just going to read out some of the things that you guys and girls said. So content, creating or otherwise, how to post, creating relevant and readable posts, good one. Content, I don't know what to post. Content, how, what, and when. Courage to post, I get anxious to post, that's fine. Somebody else said ego, fear of over engaging, that's a good one. Keywords, don't think I'm sharing the right content. Should I be sharing provider information? Time to do this, that's a really good one as well. Sufficient, fresh, regular updates, and hashtags. So there are a variety of different ways of creating content. The first one, LinkedIn tweaks its algorithm every now and again, but I want to give you a couple of ways that are just proven to work. Now, content number 1 is articles. When LinkedIn first enabled people to post articles, when LinkedIn creates something new, they want you to use the tool. They want you to use the new feature. And when you use the new feature, they reward you by making you more visible in search results and also by making your content more visible. So, for example, recently LinkedIn upgraded the company page facility. So if you use your company page, they will reward you by making your posts on your company page much more visible. And it's not always apparent when LinkedIn has introduced something new. I will send all of you a link. I've got like a private group which has always got the latest stuff that's going on LinkedIn. So if you remember that group, you'll always get to see what's new on LinkedIn, because they don't always tell you when something is new. And sometimes they announce something is new, but it doesn't actually go live for about 12 months later. So bit odd. So the first way to create content is articles. And when you create an article on LinkedIn today, it has to be long, detailed, unique insights based on perhaps research that you've done. It's got almost like a white paper. It has got to be a proper, credible, detailed piece of writing. When they first introduced the articles feature, you could get away with posting any old nonsense and you would get thousands and thousands of views. But they kind of, after a while, they begin to realize, well, that's kind of defeating the object. The whole point of an article is that it's supposed to be detailed, long form, and high value. So the algorithm now is looking for quality content. It doesn't want you just doing the same sort of thing that you might do for a status update. So detailed, long, quality content. Now, if that's your sort of thing, fantastic, fill your boots, yeah? Now, not everybody has got the time to create long, detailed content, but that is definitely one content strategy if you want to go down that particular route. Now, I'm a great believer in financial advisors writing books. writing books is proven worldwide to be one of the top lead generation activities that financial advisors can do. But again, not everyone's got the time or indeed the inclination to do that, but it works. We all know that writing a book positions you, well, it puts you into a position of authority. If you've written a book, it just naturally says something about you, about your expertise, and about your credibility. The book might actually be rubbish, but the fact that you've written the thing at all positions you in a certain way. So book writing is certainly a big deal in the United States. It's a big deal in Australia. I don't know how many financial planners in South Africa have written books, but it is really something to consider. And we're starting to see a few more writing books in the UK as well. But writing long form detailed articles on LinkedIn is a great way to go. If you don't want to do that, another way of creating content, and a proven way to create content, is not putting in stuff like check out my latest blog, or we're delighted to have hired this person here, check out their photo on our website. Don't do any of that stuff. The stuff that really works on LinkedIn is short observational stories, things that have occurred to you or happened to you in your day-to-day life. Now, one of my best ever pieces of content that I put on LinkedIn was I was just off to go and speak in Bulgaria, I think it was, and I'd had a really busy week. I hadn't booked my parking at Gatwick Airport. I needed to get a haircut, and I needed to go and post some letters. But I just quickly went onto the Gatwick Airport website to check out the price of parking for 3 days, and it quoted me £28, something like that. I thought, okay, fine, I'll now go and get my haircut, go to the post office, which I duly did, came back, and I thought I better now book the parking. So I re-entered the details. Guess what had happened? The price had gone up to £50 in the space of an hour. Dolt. That little story made for a perfect piece of content on LinkedIn. I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of likes, loads of people commented on it. I got something like 16 direct messages from people. They all said the same thing. They all said, oh, you should have booked it the first. I know all that. It was my fault entirely. But the point was, it was a human story that everybody, we've all done it. It's a human story that everybody can associate with. I got 16 direct messages, hundreds of people looked at my profile, and the 16 direct messages were 16 opportunities to have conversations with people. Thanks for your message, John. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I messed up big time. You know, what we're trying to do is create content that results in people looking at our profile and ultimately wanting to talk to us. That's what we're trying to do. So what this is about is we all need to switch on a little radar in our heads. We've all got one that looks for content like that on a daily basis. If any of you do any blogging, you know that to write a blog on a regular and consistent basis means you've got to have content. And more often than not, that content comes from stuff that you observe, something you might have heard on the radio, something you might have heard on a podcast, something you saw on the news, something that a client said to you, something that a family friend said to you. The trick is to kind of clock it when you hear it, when you spot it, scribble it down on a little notebook. And what you'll find is the more you start doing this, as you go about your day-to-day life, your day-to-day world, you will start noticing tiny little things that you think, oh, I could do that in my next post on LinkedIn, or I could do that on my next blog or on my next article. Start switching on this little radar that gives you content, and write it down. Literally write these things down. I'll tell you another fantastic source of content is your own clients. If you were starting a financial planning practice today from scratch, and you and I were talking about marketing, one thing I would suggest you do is every time anybody asks you any question, write it down. Every client meeting, record it and make a note of every single question that you are ever asked. What you'll quite often find, you know, it's simple stuff like how do your fees work, or Should I be, the sort of questions that clients ask you all the time, stuff that you can just answer almost without thinking. But the chances are, if one person asks that question, it'll be a question that somebody else wants to ask you as well. Some people will be too nervous to ask you because they think it's a stupid question. But every question that you're ever asked, write it down and keep it and use it for content. Short, simple, observational content is what works. Try to avoid putting any links in your post. Even if you've written a great blog and then you go onto LinkedIn and say, I had a really interesting observation with a client today who asked this question. Check out my blog to see how the conversation went. Don't do that. Put your content onto LinkedIn as a status update. And don't put a link. When you put links in your posts, the LinkedIn algorithm spots it, and LinkedIn doesn't want you encouraging people to click your links and then go off somewhere else. It really doesn't want you doing that. So LinkedIn penalizes posts that encourage people to click links. They want all the activity to be on LinkedIn. What you have to try and remember is that LinkedIn's strategy is to make itself an indispensable business tool. Anything you ever want in your business world, it's on LinkedIn, or you could ask someone for information. They don't want people encouraging people to leave. So long form articles, story-based status updates, simple observational stories that just capture people's attention. The single most important people at the sort of red top newspapers around the world, the single most people who work there are the people who write the headlines. They're the most people there because the number of sales that a newspaper gets in a given day is in direct proportion to the curiosity created by the headline. So the curiosity we're trying to create through our content is to make people want to look at our profile. Simple as that. So create content based on simple, short, observational stories, and always add up to 3 hashtags, 3 of your main hashtags, stick them into your content as well. Another way to create content is to piggyback on the back of other people. So if you were to scroll down the news feed on LinkedIn, you will see posts that are broadly relevant to you. The algorithm kind of knows who you are, what your area of expertise, and it kind of shows you vaguely relevant content. So just scroll down the news feed and look for content that other people have posted around areas that you are interested about, passionate about, or have expertise about. And then all you need to do is comment on their posts. Great post, Sue. I hadn't thought of that. Thanks for the heads up. Hashtag pensions, hashtags retirement. Scroll down a bit more, find another post. Really interesting post you made there, Robin. I hadn't thought of that. Hashtag retirement. That's all you need to do. 1 sentence comments on other people's posts. What happens there is the LinkedIn algorithm will spot that you are a networker and not a broadcaster. Social media is about broadcasting. Social networking is about interacting, engaging, and supporting other people. The algorithm is designed to spot people who are commenting on other people's content. And if it sees you doing that, it will reward you by making the original post more visible and therefore your comment more visible. And it will put you higher in the search results when people are looking for expertise that you have. Another way to do this, an even more effective way to do this, is to do the hashtag thing. Type into the search box at the top of LinkedIn hashtag pensions or hashtag retirement or hashtag mortgages, whatever your thing, yeah? Hit enter, the follow button will appear. Click the follow button so that you officially follow hashtag mortgages. LinkedIn algorithm gets the message that you're interested in mortgages. It will then it'll change the home screen to only show you content related to that hashtag. So if you type in hashtag mortgages, enter, follow the hashtag for mortgages, The home feed will change and only show content related to mortgages. You then scroll down that feed, pick out posts that you like the look of. Great post, Sue. Thanks for that. Hashtag mortgages. Scroll down another one. Great post, Brad. Love your idea there. Hashtag mortgages. Scroll down again, do it on another one. If you can do 3 of those a day, you'll be way ahead of most people on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn algorithm will reward you. You will get more profile views, and you will literally see the graph going up over the course of a week if you can do that consistently. So here's a little challenge to you. From maybe Monday next week, make a point every single day of following a hashtag and then commenting on other people's posts. Let other people do the work. And the other people could be providers. They could be other financial advisors. It doesn't really matter. All we're really doing is proving to the LinkedIn algorithm that you are engaging with other human beings and you are supporting them and you're saying, I really enjoyed that post, or what, just simple stuff like that. How hard is that to do? Yeah. Really, really powerful one to think about. So just to sum up, long form articles, story-based status updates, comment on other people's content, and then comment on other people's content that is related to a hashtag as well. That last one is kind of new on LinkedIn as well. So because it's kind of new, they are giving you extra rewards, extra bonus points for doing that as well. Other ways to create content are, well, one way to do it is do video status updates. These aren't live. You have to apply to LinkedIn to do live streaming. If that's something you're interested in, drop me a line and I'll send you a link to where you do that. It's really difficult to find where you actually apply. But what you could do is create short, simple videos and upload them as status updates as well. And again, this is a relatively new feature, so LinkedIn will reward you by making sure. But of course, we all know how powerful video is. Everybody says how powerful video is. But again, you could do your short observational story as a video. Just literally turn on your webcam and say, do you know, I'm off to meet a client tomorrow. I've got to get on an airplane. I forgot to book the parking at the airport. The price has gone up. You know, simple little stuff like that. And other human beings will recognize that themselves because they've done the same thing as well, and they will comment on it. You will get more profile views, and that gives you an opportunity to interact and engage with them. And that's something we'll cover off in a minute. So that's a great way to do it. Now, there's there's all sorts of tools that are appearing left, right, and center to do this. I discovered a tool the other day called Dub. There is also a tool called BombBomb, B-O-M-B, which are tools to create video that you can embed in email, but some of them are now allowing you to embed the video into LinkedIn status updates as well. They are also creating, you can also create videos to send messages to people, and I'll come on to that in a second. So I hope that helps with creating content. For the person who said they're just a little bit nervous about putting content onto LinkedIn, I get that. Not everybody. One of the problems with social media is everybody says you just got to be banging stuff out there. And you know, there's a lot of people thinking, oh, do you know, I'd rather not. I don't want to expose myself to the world. I'm a private person, and so I get that. It's not compulsory to do this. That's the really good thing. But a great way to start is just to comment on other people's posts. Literally one-line posts that say, great post, Sue, thanks for the heads up. Hashtag pensions, hashtag mortgages, whatever your thing is. So that's a nice, easy way of getting into creating content if you're a little bit nervous about doing it, but it is also incredibly powerful way of doing it as well. So those are the main ways of creating content. You can, of course, do the exact same thing if you have a company page. In the general section, 1 or 2 of you mentioned company pages. You can also do exactly the same thing in company pages as well. The content in company pages that you place can vary. If you are a larger organization, then it's more likely that you're going to post corporate stuff, maybe quarterly numbers, maybe content around new members of staff. It's going to be a bit more corporate. I get that. But even if you're a one-person financial advice business, you really ought to have a company page as well. It gives you another bit of visibility on LinkedIn, and you can put the exact same content in there as well. As I said, LinkedIn have recently revamped company pages, so it's worth using. If they're going to reward you by making your post more visible, use it. And they also give you some detailed stats so that you can have a look at what sort of people have been looking at your content on your company page. It's well worth diving in. So those are the main areas of creating content. Has anybody got any questions at this particular point that they'd like to ask me? It's not compulsory to ask a question, but if you have, fire away.
I have a question. It's not on content, but it's just been running through my head. You might know the tagline just below the name on LinkedIn. I see that a lot of people, even the people who are very good with networking, have quite a long tagline, and I initially had a longer one as well, like maybe 2 lines or 3 lines or something, because it puts in more information. But the fact of the matter is, when I see I'm engaging with somebody in like a chat or something, I only see like up to about 6 or 7 words. And so I just wanted to ask if you think it's better to actually make it just short, or if putting in that slightly more detailed information is actually more helpful.
That's a really good question. So I'm going to show you my personal LinkedIn profile. Let's see if we can get this to happen. And I'll show you. You make a really interesting point there, but it works in a couple of different ways. Just bear with me. Okay. Let's see if I can share this screen, and I want to share that one. Right. Can you see my LinkedIn profile? Everybody see my LinkedIn profile? Okay, good. So Brad, you're talking about this bit here, are you? The bit under my name? That's the bit you're talking about. Okay, so there's 2 ways of doing this. First of all, you can put some keywords after your name if you want to. So you could put Brad McWalter Financial Planner. You could do that if you want to. And the benefits of doing that is keywords. Okay, so it's another place to put a keyword. But if you post content, if you comment on someone else's content on LinkedIn, people can see what you do for a living without actually needing to visit your profile. So there's a benefit there, but it might mean that some people won't actually visit your profile. So pros and cons of doing that. Now, the bit underneath your name is called the professional headline. And up to about 3 weeks ago, you got 2 lines, maybe 2.5 lines. If you updated your professional headline on an Apple device, so a MacBook or an iPhone, you could actually get 3 or 4 lines. They gave you more characters. It was just a quirk of the system. But literally 3 weeks ago, they allowed everybody to have best part of 4 lines. Now, this is a really, really important thing. This is almost like the first thing people see is your photo. That's the first thing people see. If people like the look of your photo, regardless of what gender they are and you are, a lot of people do this. They click on, oh, mine goes into edit mode. They will click on it and the picture gets bigger. So if you haven't updated your photo for a while, you want to upload a fairly big image. I think you get up to about 8 megabytes so that when people click on the photo, they get a great big picture. So just worth bearing that in mind. Now, this bit here, the professional headline, has got to speak to your perfect dream client. You've got to build your profile so that it is written for your perfect dream client. So in the case of Jared Reynolds in the United States, his profile is written, or it used to be written, he's now expanded a little bit. It used to be written only for professional bass fishermen. Nobody else. He didn't want anybody else. And if you just visited his profile, if you weren't a professional bass fisherman, you click away straight away. And a really good exercise for financial advice, I mean, it's a really good exercise to do in your business anyway, is to create this, as they call it, perfect client avatar. Literally create, what does your perfect dream client look like? Is he male? Is she female? Is it a couple? What age are they? What do they do for a living? How much do they earn? Whether they like to go on holiday? What magazines do they read? What? Literally create this perfect dream client. And then write your profile for that person, so that when that person visits your profile, it literally speaks to them. Literally speaks to them. So right now, and I change my perfect dream client from time to time. So right now, I am targeting people who want LinkedIn lead generation training. So my profile says, helping you to master LinkedIn for lead generation in the new economy, specialist social media marketer working with regulated industries, that's you lot, and professional services business, author, speaker, that kind of stuff. So I'm aiming that at corporates who want to hire me to train their teams, but I'm also aiming it at meeting planners, conference organizers, those kind of people as well. Another way to do this is to write your professional headline as a question. Are you a healthcare professional worried about whether or not you'll have enough income in retirement? So if healthcare professionals nearing retirement are your target market, that could be something that you write. What you want to write is write it as a question that gets the answer yes going in their head. So that if a healthcare professional nearing retirement lands on your profile, it speaks to them. Yes, I'm a healthcare professional. Yes, I'm worried about my retirement income. I'm going to read a bit more of this profile. That's kind of how it works. Okay. Does that kind of answer that, Brad? Excellent. But what we're also doing, really importantly,
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're getting keywords in here as well. LinkedIn is one of my keywords. Lead generation is one of my keywords. Social media marketing is one of my keywords. Yeah. Keynote speaker, one of my keywords. That's why the keyword thing is so important. So let's just stay on my profile, and we'll just dig a little bit deeper. You really do need to be using this big image at the top here. So important. It's a massive, great piece of free real estate that you can use. Right now, I'm plugging my books, so I'm going to just plaster that right across the top. I've said I'm focusing on financial advisors, regulated industries, so I'm going to make sure that financial advisors see that. Yeah. Really important. It's critical. See this bit here, providing services. This is a bit that hardly anyone fills out. When you go onto your LinkedIn profile, there'll be an edit button for you to put that in as well. Really important. Also, make sure you fill out your contact information as well. Make sure you get all your contact details in there as well. Also, your profile URL. Notice it doesn't say Philip Calvert in there. It says sales keynote speaker. What do you notice? Keywords. So when you edit your profile, I'm not going to do that now. Try, if you want, to get a keyword in there. Yeah. So you could have Warren Hayter financial planner in there. Yeah. That's what you could do. If you've got your website, pop it in there. Your location, really important. The algorithm wants to know that for people searching for you, and other email addresses and Twitter, if that's what you do. Really important you fill out as much of that as you possibly can. The about section. Tell a little story. The fastest I've got some of the new clients through LinkedIn is under 7 minutes. I was speaking at a business conference in Europe when a delegate, a financial planner, used a LinkedIn communication technique I was teaching while I was still on stage explaining. When I came off stage, she ran up to the front and excitedly showed me her mobile and the profile of the client she had just won using my LinkedIn strategy. She couldn't contain her excitement, telling me that she'd been working on this prospect for 3 months with no response, and that when she used my approach, the prospect responded immediately. Financial planners are going to want to know, well, what's that technique that you use, Phil? You know, So what I've done here is tell a little story, but it is also jam-packed with keywords as well. LinkedIn, speaking, business conference, financial planner, LinkedIn. What's more, those main keywords are in the first paragraph of the About section. It's really, really important that, so I was doing a Trump there, really important that you get your main keywords into the first paragraph of your About section. Why? Because when Google comes along, looking at people's profiles, it stops after it starts at the top, it goes down, and Google's spiders read the first paragraph, and then it doesn't read anymore. So you want to make sure that your main keywords are in the first paragraph of your LinkedIn profile. Then there's a bit more, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got this thing called the featured section, which is fairly new, and you can pick and choose what goes in there. Now, what a lot of people, and you can upload stuff, you can pick status updates. There's a whole bunch of different things that you could do. In fact, if I click the plus, here we go. I could put a post in there. I could put an article in there. I could put a link in there, and I could put media, photos, documents, you name it. I could put it in there. And what a lot of people do is they use that, but by just putting one thing in there, that really stands out. Okay. Going further down, you get some stats, which we could look at. Really importantly, you look at your stats. The stats come out on Fridays and Mondays, depending on where you are in the world. Now, then we have the experience section. Now, the experience section does a couple of things. It shows what you do for a living. Okay, get your keywords in there. You could put the name, and you put your name of your company, and you can put your logo as well. But the bit that a lot of people don't do is they don't then add any additional detail. A lot of people just put what they do for a living and where they work. Make sure that you then put in the detail as well, because opportunities to get keywords in there as well. Add a bit of media as well. But what you can also do, instead of just doing that, you can also show other things and other projects that you are doing in your business. So for example, I could go onto my LinkedIn profile today, and I could add into this section here the fact that we've done this webinar today. I could actually put that in that experience. So a lot of people think that is only, the experience section is only for where you work for right now, or where you used to work for. It can also show what you are doing right now. So my LinkedIn health check, I've put that in there as well. Whole bunch of stuff that I've put in there, which most people aren't going to read, but why do you think I've put it in there? Keywords. It's all about the keywords. Really, really important. So we scroll further down. Then you put your education in there. Any other courses or things that you've done as well. Any licenses that you've got, specific certifications. So financial advisors, there's a whole bunch of different exams that you could do. Put them in there, yeah? Something else that's really important, volunteer experience. More and more people these days will purchase products and services based around people's perception of individuals, what you care about, what you volunteer to do. So there's a financial advisor in the UK, a guy called Martin Bamford. He's probably the world's best financial advisor at internet marketing. But he can't be bothered to leave the town, doesn't like driving anywhere, but he loves his local locality. So he puts in this volunteer section that he does the local park run, that he's on the local Chamber of Commerce, that he does the local Cranley in Bloom, the whole thing. So get any other local stuff that you do volunteering in there. Now, another really important bit is the skills and endorsements. You can put up to 50, I think it's 52 skills in there. So I profess to have skills in these areas here. What do you notice about those skills? Keywords. Get your keywords into the skills section. When somebody endorses you for a skill, make sure that you say thank you. We're looking for opportunities to have conversations with other people. So if somebody endorses you, go to their profile and say, hi, John, hi, Sue. Thanks for endorsing me for seminar selling today. Really appreciate it. Then offer to give them something in the expectation of getting nothing in return. Say, let me know if I can introduce you to someone in my network. 99 times out of 100, they don't take you up on that. But what we're using is the law of reciprocity, which is incredibly powerful. I give you something, it makes it significantly more likely that they will give you something back. And all we want them to give us back is their attention, so that we strike up a little bit of a conversation, yeah? And I'll talk about those conversations in just a minute. Recommendations is to where you can give and receive real testimonials. Then there's a thing at the bottom called accomplishments. So what you can see here, there's a lot more to LinkedIn profiles than initially meets the eye. But you want to fill in as much of it as you possibly can, ideally including keywords. Yeah. So publications, one of my books is called Marketing for Financial Advice Professionals. Keyword, keyword. Get as many keywords as you can. You've done any courses, put them in there. Any big special projects, put them in there. Martin Bamford, I mentioned a minute or two ago, one of his big projects that he did a couple of years ago, he actually made his own movie. I mean, that's quite a step. You know, he Googled how to make a movie, and he literally he created his own documentary about the financial planning needs of the baby boomer generation. Wow. Writing a book's pretty good. Making your own movie is pretty impressive. So he would put that in projects there. Further down, it shows interest and it all starts getting a bit boring. So those are the main bits, but I hope the message comes across that this is all about keywords and human interest stories. Okay, really, really important that we try and do that. Now, one or two of you asked about identifying and attracting clients. So let's just do some of this, some of the things that we've talked about. So let's say, for sake of argument, that I'm into football and in a big way, and maybe I support Manchester United, for sake of argument. Okay, so what I could do is I could type into the search box Manchester United, okay, and I hit enter. And it brings up 1.25 million results. Wow. I mean, that's extraordinary. We're talking about LinkedIn here, 1.25 million. I can then filter that down. So let's just go to groups for sake of argument. And it finds 131 groups that are related to Manchester United. Isn't that bizarre? Let's say I'm into fishing. And I want clients who are into fishing. Type it into the box, enter, 309,000 results. I click people, 309,000 people have got fishing in their profile. Some of them will sell fishing rods for a living. Some of them will just be into fishing. But if fishing's your thing, guess what? When you come to talk to them, you've got something in common. And it's having something in common that is absolutely critical. Now, I'm just going to pick one at random. Let's take the top one. Let's take Tom for sake of argument, okay? Now, never click the connect button over there. Always click on his profile, okay? And have a look at his profile and see if you can find something that you have in common. Now, if we're both into fishing, we've got fishing in common. Yippee, okay? But here we've also got 2 mutual connections. That's good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click connect, add a note. Always from today, make it a thing. You only ever connect with someone and personalize the message. I'm going to add a note. Okay. Now what I might typically do is I might say, hi, Tom, I spotted you on LinkedIn. In fact, I've got some ready-made scripts and I'm going to use a bit of a tech that I use. Let me just see if, just bear with me. I want to connect. It gives a ready-made message, pops it in there. Hi, Tom. I spotted you on LinkedIn and noticed that we've a number of mutual connections here. It would be great to connect, please. Thanks in advance. Okay, that's the message I use, and I get probably 99% success rate with that. Now, there's a couple of things going on. It might look like a perfectly normal message, but there's a bit of psychology going on. First of all, I've used his name, so he's going to pay attention. Secondly, I put an ellipsis, 3 little dots after his name. That's a copywriting technique which hints to readers that there's more to follow, so you keep reading. Then you use the word, I spotted you on LinkedIn. That suggests to him that he did something that got my attention. So he's going to feel, at a subconscious level, he's going to feel good about that. And I noticed that we've got a number of mutual connections here. So straight away, we've got things in common, okay? It would be great to connect, please. Thanks in advance, ... This is, again, is a copywriting technique that is proven to dramatically increase the likelihood that people will actually reply. You could put that at the end of emails, put it in a link, thanks in advance, ... proven to increase the likelihood that someone will reply. And then I hit done. The message is gone. Okay, and it's a little bit slow because we're using Zoom at the same time, but that's gone. What you will also have noticed, let me just find something. What you can also do, now you can do this on, you can only do it on the mobile, or unless you have a plugin called Dub, go to Google extensions and look for a plugin called Dub, D-U-B. If I find someone here, let's just, so Christy has done exactly the same thing here. She says, hi Phil, I noticed we have some of the same people wanted to connect. Great, she's customized it, one of the few people. So I'm going to accept that. And I'm now going to send her a message. Okay, automatically appears. Now, what I could do is I can send a ready-made connection script, okay, that sends her somewhere. But if you can see just down here, there's a little logo, and that is the Dub plugin. I can click that, it will open up my webcam, and I can record a video message and send it off to her. Christy will never have ever had someone send her a video message. We talk about differentiation, that's how you do it. You can also send, the main way to send video messages is through the mobile app. If you go onto the mobile app, find someone that you want to talk to. Normally you would type it out, but you can, there's a little button there. You can actually send an audio message or you can send a video message as well. Literally do it there. And trust me, that will make you stand out from the crowd like nobody else. But I'm not going to send Christy a video message. Let me show you what I am going to send her. Again, I've got a ready-made, someone wants to connect. So let's just, I can't make it much bigger. Hopefully you can see this. It's right at the bottom of the page, but I can't get it in. So it says, hi, Christy. Yes, I'm very happy to connect. Thanks for your interest. I will send that message regardless of whether somebody customized the message to me. So I reply as if they did customize the message. Yes, we want to get people saying yes when we're on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to connect. Thanks for your interest. Please let me know if I can introduce you to anyone in my network. So straight away, I'm going into giving mode. 99 times out of 100, no one takes me up on that. But in her head, I'm the good guy. I've offered her something potentially of high value. It's great that you found me on LinkedIn because the majority of contacts have completed my LinkedIn health check. Note the words, the majority of contacts. That is using social proof. Social proof is the most powerful tool at your disposal to influence other human beings. If you can show people that other people work with you, other healthcare professionals near retirement are working with you, it makes it significantly more likely that they will. So just me putting here, the majority of contacts that completed my LinkedIn health check will make it very, very likely that she will take that health check as well. And then I actually say to her straight, you should take it too. Again, that is a piece of copywriting technique that is quite assertive, but people respond very positively. You should take it too because it reveals how effectively you're using LinkedIn. The word because is officially the most powerful and influential word in the English language. And the reason why it's the most powerful word in the English language is because that word is ingrained into us from our earliest memories. Don't put your hand in the fire, little Johnny, because you'll burn it. Don't eat your food off your knife, little Sally, because you'll cut your tongue. We are programmed by our parents that whatever comes after the word because justifies why we should behave in a certain way. And there's been a lot of scientific work done on this that proves inconclusively that if you use the word because in a sentence, it significantly increases the likelihood that people will do as you ask them. You should work with us because. You should listen to our podcast because. In other words, give them a reason. And we are programmed that if there is a reason that follows the word because, we're programmed to follow it. So you should take it to assertive because, really powerful. It reveals how effectively you're using LinkedIn to attract your ideal clients, customers, and connections. And then gives you tips to improve. It's free and easy. Again, a little bit of psychobabble that's proven to work. Get your score at, and here it is. Thanks again for making contact. ... Regards, Philip. I reckon that at the moment, 95% of people that I send that message to are clicking the link and following my thing. And then they're in my funnel. They take the test. I get their email address. The test gives them high value. And then I've got an opportunity to have a conversation with them. And I can say, Christy, I saw you take the test. You did okay. Well done. But I spotted a few things, areas for improvement that you could do. It is a phenomenal, powerful tool. So that's the sort of wording. So if you have got somewhere that you want to take people after you've connected with them, it could be on your website, it could be your blog, it could be your YouTube channel, it could be a freebie that they can download from your website, put that in there. But say to them, the majority of my clients or my customers do X, Y, Z. And what you'll find is you'll get a dramatic increase in the number of other people you connect with following what you do. So what we've got is a message here that is a combination of proven psychological techniques, proven copywriting techniques, and something of high value. That is potentially, their personal score is potentially very high value. If you've already taken it, you will get the freebie at the end of taking my scorecard thing is you'll get a copy of my book. So it's really real high value. If any of you are interested in that particular tool, Score App, just go visit scoreapp.com and you could create your own high value lead. I mean, that's a lead magnet for want of another expression. But really what I'm trying to get here is that by interacting and engaging with people at a human level on LinkedIn, we're attracting them to visit our profile. And once they do that, it is up to us to then try and start a conversation, just like I did there. What I tend to find is that 8 out of 10 people actually reply to this message. Oh, thanks, Phil. I'll take the test. So I can go back to them and say, oh, that's great. Let us know how you got on. Everything we're trying to do here is to start conversations with people. So let me just send that. So that's gone off to Christy. And you could do the same thing again. So let's do the hashtag thing. If I type in hashtag pensions, oops. Let's see what happens. So 46,000 pieces of content on LinkedIn that have got hashtag pensions. And there it is, hashtag pensions, 7,306 followers. So what you could do is then click the follow button. As soon as you click the follow button, okay, you've now sent a message to the LinkedIn algorithm that pensions is a topic you're interested in. And then all you need to do is scroll down the posts, okay, and pick out ones that you like the look of. Here's an interesting one. Stephanie, financial planner. Are you approaching long-term financial planning with the same intensity as your career? Okay, well, she's written quite a long one there, but look, there's the hashtag pensions, hashtag. Now it doesn't matter where Stephanie works. It doesn't matter that she might be a competitor. All you can do now is just go in there and type in a comment. Great post, Stephanie. Really, you make some interesting points there. Hashtag pensions. Leave it at that. Scroll on. See what else you can find. Stephen here, financial advisor. Read his post, add a really short comment. Really interesting post, Stephen. Hadn't thought of that. Hashtag pensions. And just rinse and repeat. And that will take you literally no time at all. And that will dramatically increase the number of visits to your profile. And when people visit your profile, okay, on a regular basis, you need to check to see who, and that's not people who looked at your profile, that's people who want to connect. Let's just have a look here and go to my profile, just bear with me. So you go down to here, 521 have looked at your profile. Okay, and you can then, your job really is to go through this on a regular basis, look at their profile, see what you've got in common, and if you want it, these people, I've connected with all of them, okay? And then try to start a conversation. That's really what we're trying to achieve here, starting conversations. When you start the conversation, it will then at some point lead to a phone call, hopefully, or a Zoom call, or in normal times, a coffee shop. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build relationships by being human, start conversations, take that conversation somewhere else. But if you can get your messaging right, you'll be amazed how many additional visitors to your website. So when you take my scorecard and you download your free book, those scripts are in that ebook, okay? You'll find those scripts in there, and there's various permutations on the theme. We don't need to go through them right now. So let's just briefly go back to the presentation and share screen, and we go back to creating content, share. So that's how we create content. Hope you find that useful. Identifying and attracting clients, that's one way to do it. Just find common interests. Whatever use your personal interests, use your business interests, use location interests, but use that search box. Hopefully you can see now just how powerful the search tool is. I mean, LinkedIn is a search engine, just as Google is a search engine. I once attracted a client, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the first presentation. So I do a bit of kickboxing when I'm not doing this. And one of my target markets is really big financial services organizations, banks, for example. So one thing I did was I typed in kickboxing into the search box. It gave me thousands of results, mostly kickboxing instructors. I don't want a kickboxing instructor, I've got one. What I do want is people who work in financial services who also do kickboxing. So I do the search, I use the filters. I choose the industry, financial services. I choose the location, London, Sydney, Johannesburg, wherever. Click those, and the list is changed. I then find someone who's working in a bank. I look at their profile, and I send them a message. I'll send them a message like something like, do you want to fight? Or I say something that they know I do martial arts and they do martial arts, and you get a conversation going. And all I'm trying to do is to get to a point where we say, well, why don't we go for a coffee? We'll talk about jiu-jitsu or karate or whatever. That's all I'm trying to do, is get them in a coffee shop, build a human relationship. At some point I'll say, is there anyone I can introduce you to that could help you with your career or your job or your projects or whatever? And they go, oh, well, I'll have a think about it. Is there anything I can do for you, Phil? Yeah, introduce me to the person who organizes your conference. Job done. That's how you do it. It is all done at a human level. So you can see from what I was saying at the beginning, how it's got nothing to do with the technology. It's all to do with the technique. You can see why that is really, really important. Now, there are a few general points that people brought up that I just want to get some. So one of you said, lack of clarity of my aim for using LinkedIn. Really, really great point, that one. For this to work, you've got to have a plan. And that plan can literally be a back of an envelope job, as long as you've got something that's written down. My plan is to attract healthcare professionals in Johannesburg who are nearing retirement. It can be as simple as that. Whatever you want to achieve, or my plan could be to raise my profile as a financial planner in Cape Town. Just write something down, okay? And then think about, right, given the tools, given some of the things that Phil said, what could I do that would help me to achieve that goal? It is literally that. And what you tend to find is when you've got something written down, it makes your experience of LinkedIn so much more rewarding. What most of us find is when we go on LinkedIn, we kind of faff around. We see the little red, oh, someone wants to connect with me. Oh, there's an article. Shall I read that? Someone wants to connect me. Then you agonize about, should I connect with this person? Should I not connect with this person? We waste so much time. When you've got a plan and you know vaguely what you're trying to achieve, you'll get so much more reward out of it. Really, really important. Somebody else mentioned about connections. Who do we connect with? Really good point. In the real world, I would advocate that you build a network of contacts that's actually quite focused. So if you target healthcare professionals in Johannesburg, then you want to build your network around healthcare people so that you can introduce one another, that sort of thing. But on LinkedIn has this concept of being well connected. Now, you and I all know what being well connected actually means in the real world. In LinkedIn's world, well connected means having lots of contacts. LinkedIn rewards people for having a big network on the platform because it figures that you are in a better position to then introduce people you know to other people in your network. So I will accept connection requests from absolutely anybody who wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, with the exception of obvious spammers. Literally, I'll connect with everybody, but I've got an acceptance script for different types of people. So I've got a script for financial advisors who want to connect with me. I've got a script for providers who want to connect with me. I've got a script for accountants who want to connect with me because they're in a regulated environment. And I've got a script for anybody else who wants to connect with me. They all take people to the scorecard. Every single one of them goes to the scorecard because they see it as a high value thing. My message says, everyone else is taking out my scorecard, so I better do it as well. That's how the brain works. Phil said everyone else has taken his scorecard, so I will as well. And when I take Phil's scorecard, I'm going to get a freebie, and I'm going to get some tips on how to improve my profile and visibility on LinkedIn. So most people genuinely go visit my scorecard. I eventually get the email, and I've got an opportunity to have conversations with them. So build a big network. What else have we got? One of you mentioned getting centers of influence to look out for me. That's a really, really good one. There is a marketing technique called the Dream 100, which, for want of a better expression, is finding 100 people who will look out for you. So, for example, if you were to put on a local seminar, for example, seminars are one of the single most effective marketing tools for financial advisors. Proven time and time again worldwide that seminars are ridiculously powerful. Right now, not really on the agenda, but webinars will do the exact same thing. But if you're going to put on a seminar, the single biggest reason why financial advisors seminars fail or people don't turn up or don't register is because they don't have a plan. They don't have an objective for that. You've got to have, and you've got to write down, just as I said earlier, write down what's your objective for using LinkedIn. You write down what's my objective for putting on seminars. But that's all very well. And there is a process to getting bums on seats. You just follow the process, they turn up. But you can help yourself by getting other people to look out for you, getting other people to help you with your marketing, local accountants, local legal folks, local estate agents, local business people where you've already got a relationship with them. This is when they come into their own. Yeah, you may refer business to them, and yeah, they may refer business to you. But if you're putting on a seminar, you want to tell them you're putting on a seminar and maybe even incentivize them to tell their clients about it. The same thing goes for LinkedIn. You want to try and build up a group of people who you really, really care about. You care about each other. And it may well be a good way to do this is to create a private group on LinkedIn and invite to that group these people. These people, as I said, local introducers, local professionals, local other business people. But if you can get some local influencers as well, who have got large followings on social media or large followings for their blogs or their podcast, they're really, really good people to build relationships. But invite them all to your private group. If you can get 100, fantastic. But most of us just won't get 100. That's why it's called the Dream 100. If you can get 5 or 6, 10, 20, that's absolutely fine. Invite them to the group and say, this group is here to brainstorm ideas around how to help each other in each other's businesses. BNI, I'm sure you have BNI in South Africa, the networking group here. The idea is you have one accountant, one plumber, one Windows replacement expert, one financial advisor, yeah, and you all refer business to each other. You could do exactly the same thing, create your own LinkedIn group and really build strong, robust relationships that look out for each other. So that if you post something, you can be reasonably sure that one of your buddies in this group will say, great post, Brad, really enjoy it. In other words, help each other out, like, share and comment on each other's stuff. That's a really, really good way to get. As financial advisors, I know only too well that many of you feel quite lonely. It's a lonely business being a financial advisor, particularly if you're a one-person business. So help each other out. Really good thing. There is another little technique you could do, which works really well. It is create a website, get about 8 other financial advisors in your area. And I know that most financial advisors are not in competition with each other, but create a website with each other and each of you commit to putting a blog on that website once a month. All you can do is one blog a month each on this website. Guess what will happen? Google will spot it because there's great content on there. And when people are searching for a financial advisor in your area, that website will appear very high in search results. Simple little trick. You could call it the Cape Town Financial Planner Directory. It's not a directory. It's just got 8 people on it. But if you can buddy up together with other financial advisors and help and support each other, even on LinkedIn as well, it will make a difference to both of you. Works really, really well. What else have we got on the list here? Prioritizing.
Phil, can I just interrupt there just a moment?
Please.
Phil, I could listen to you all day. I think it's fascinating. We know each other well, and but I know we've run over time, and don't worry. I'm very anxious that I just say a huge thank you to you. But please keep going. If other people, and please, if other people are going to get more value, and I'm sure they will, please do keep going. But I know some people will probably want to drop off at some point. So, and that's absolutely fine too. I wanted to just take this opportunity just to say thank you. And just to say, I think it's just brilliant, the stuff you've done. So, and thank you very much for all the insights that you've given us. But please keep going. I myself have to drop off now. But I'm very, very, I've learned so much, as always, from you, Phil. So thank you so much.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. I've got 3 more minutes on my clock, but I'll tell you what I will do. I'll use those 3 minutes, and then I will give you a bonus thing about some recent research. So we'll probably go on another 10, 15 tops. Is that okay with everybody? But again, feel free to drop off. I know this is being recorded, so we'll all get this anyway. So thanks, Georgina. That's absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Let me just put prioritizing time. Robert, were you going to ask something?
Yes, please, if you don't mind. Just to do with the content, there are a couple of guys out there or service providers that are are creating content for advisors and white labeling them for their practices and posting them on the websites through blogs and then linking them, whether it's through to whatever social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn. Your comments around that, because it's, I suppose it's the same content across, say, 100 practices versus customizable or independent content. So I'd appreciate just one or two comments around there. And the reason, it's a loaded question as well from my side, because I battle with creating content. And so I've looked to the industry to see what is on offer.
Really interesting point. Because providers, present company included, want to add value to financial advisors, full stop. It's as simple as that. Some providers, when they create content that financial advisors can use, the content's a little bland, dare I say. So you may not, but if there is a ready-made source of content and you like the look of it, then fine, use it. But I would genuinely try and add the personal touch to it if you possibly can. Just try and differentiate it, as you say, from everybody else that's out there. In my experience, the most effective type of content is stuff that relates to you as a human being. And it could be as simple as, had a great client meeting this morning. Clients are healthcare professionals in Johannesburg. They're really worried about their income retirement. They're also thinking about inheritance for their kids, and they really weren't sure what to do. And then you could say something like, this is something we see every day. And I'm more than happy to help somebody. So tell a little story, but you don't need to give the solution. You certainly don't need to then go into sales mode and say, give us a call, we can help you. I see a lot of financial advisors doing some good content. So for example, we had our budget recently, the Chancellor, and I saw an IFA in London saying, the Chancellor did some good stuff today, which will have value for people with mortgages and people starting businesses. Then that financial advisor went on to say, if this is something that concerns you, we can help you. Please do get in touch. Now, the first bit, fine. Second bit is just clunky and uncomfortable. If people want to talk to you, they're going to get in touch with you anyway. They're going to look at your profile. So there's no shortage of content out there produced by providers. Yep, some of it's great. Some of it is just bland. But the really good stuff is based around you. But what's really interesting is the most effective type of content right now is this technique I was mentioning earlier, where you just comment on other people's stuff. How hard is that? So really worth looking at there. Somebody asked about prioritizing time. I really get that. The bit that will take up most of your time, more than anything else, will be getting your profile fit and proper and fit for use. That is worth spending a decent amount of time on. If you were just joining LinkedIn today, that's going to take you best part of half a day, if not longer, to do it. If you're already on LinkedIn, it's simply a matter of sprucing it up, making it more human, making sure those keywords are in there. That's the time-consuming bit. Scrolling through other people's content and adding posts like "Great post, Sue, thanks for that." That takes what, 10 seconds? In some respects, you could, if you're an organized person, it's a bit like if you are going to write a book, you absolutely have to put time in your diary to do this. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, schedule it into the diary, turn everything else off, only do that. That's really, really important to do that. So hope that helps. Was there another question just there? Did I hear?
Yeah. It's Jason.
Hi, Jason.
When you go and you update all of your info, so you got to go and rebuild your profile, there's a setting somewhere that you actually switch it off so that everybody doesn't get updated until you've finished.
Yep.
How do you
when you update your profile, and now LinkedIn moves a lot of its stuff around all over the place, but when you update your profile, you will see right in front of you a little button that says Notify Network. The default is off. Now, if you are updating your network, I think a lot of people would find it quite tedious if you, I mean, I'm always changing my profile, and I know for a fact my network would find it really tedious if all they ever saw in their stream is Phil's added this, Phil's done that. And so I'm just not going to do that. But if I've got something big's happened, like I've just published a new book, I'll make sure everyone knows about it then. The settings on LinkedIn are very detailed. They are really hot on privacy. My general opinion is to try and be as visible as you possibly can, but not everyone's going to feel comfortable with that, and that's absolutely fine. So go through all the settings and choose settings that make you feel comfortable. Again, one of the problems with social media is there is this sort of feeling that we've always got to be pushing out content, always got to be pushing out content. And the good news is it's not compulsory. Just do what you feel comfortable with. Some people are not comfortable posting status updates. Some people don't want to write a blog, but they'll feel more comfortable just posting great posts too. Wish I'd thought of that. #pensions. Simple stuff like that. Now, if it's okay with you, I want to show you just a little bit of bonus stuff, because there's some interesting things going on out there in the world. So if I share screen, and I've got a separate, here we go, separate, a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Just power this up here, and we'll quickly nip through this. Literally 10-15 minutes, absolute tops. So a few weeks ago, I inherited a little red book, and from my father. It's tiny. It's about 3/4 centimeter thick, made of leather, and it was produced by Tanqueray Gordon. Yeah, we all know Tanqueray Gordon, and I love it. I mean, it was my dad's, and I got in touch with Diageo's archivist. Diageo owned Gordon's. And I said to them, I just inherited this beauty of a little book. Can you tell me anything about it? And they said, my goodness, very rare. It's 100 years old. And it is a marketing piece that Tanqueray Gordon's used a few years ago. But it was a very special piece of marketing. The idea was it's a marketing piece, so they want to attract more people to buy Gordon's gin. And, you know, they could have done that through newspaper adverts, magazine adverts. But what they actually did, this little book contained a list of cocktails and how to make them. A beautiful piece of added value marketing. They're attracting people in, but they're also showing people how you use the product to create something even better. Okay? And I'll come back to why this is important in a minute. When you look at financial advisor marketing, it tends to be fairly random. You get unpredictable results. It's not very scalable. It's ineffective at best. And that just makes everybody stressed. What we'd ideally need is marketing that creates predictable results, that are scalable, that have got a plan, that actually works, so that you feel confident about it, okay? So let's just quickly look at some of the best performing types of marketing. For top performing financial advisors around the world, that list there tends to be what works. Referrals, books, seminars, web listing, introducers and joint ventures, that's this Dream 100 thing, LinkedIn, search engine optimization, a few other bits. For advisors that are either new or struggling or need a bit of help, the list is similar but different. And those are the sort of things that you could be looking at. And I love at the bottom there, old school, non-digital. Little red books I would count as old school, non-digital. Radio advertising, sponsoring roundabouts are old school, non-digital. Now, the point is, though, in an ideal world, whatever type of marketing we do, we want it to be all of these things: low cost, simple, predictable, scalable, and effective. At the very least, we want it to be low cost and effective. We need our marketing to tick those boxes there. Okay? Now, if we look at a few of these things, some of them tick. So networking, yes, it's low cost. Yes, it's simple, not particularly predictable, not particularly scalable, and it can and cannot be effective. Using LinkedIn, yes, it's low cost. Is it simple? No, unless you know what you're doing. Is it predictable? No, unless you know what you're doing. Is it scalable? Yes. Is it effective? Yes. Seminars? Yes. No. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not going to go through them all. But there's one other one down the bottom here that is quite remarkable. Webinars. Low cost, very simple to do, very predictable results, definitely scalable and effective. The modern equivalent of putting on seminars and client events. Super easy to do. You just follow a particular format. So if we take away the others and we're left with just the ones that tick the main boxes, we're left with seminars, writing books, and webinars. Those are the things that arguably are most effective and give us the best bang for our buck, yeah? What are they? What have they got in common? They are educational. My next book is going to be something based around educational marketing for financial advisors. In other words, marketing that works because it educates people at the same time. So just briefly, just a couple of thoughts about why webinars are so good. I mean, theoretically, if you just dedicated 1 hour a month or even half an hour a month or even 1 hour a quarter, you will bring in predictable new leads. And you do a webinar and you follow a process, the results are predictable. It costs next to nothing to do. You can do it on Zoom as well. You don't have to go anywhere. You can talk to multiple people at the same time. Look at this one. It attracts the right attendees. If you were to put on a webinar on how healthcare professionals nearing retirement in Johannesburg can increase their income in retirement, only healthcare professionals are going to sign up for it. No one else is going to sign up for it. So the right people sign up. You are sharing your value, and there is a natural next step. And that natural next step is have a chat on the phone. There are different types of webinars. I'm not going to go into these in any detail. There's the sort of webinar that we're doing now. Small number of people, everybody's got their cameras on. Or there's the other type of webinar where there are no cameras on, but we get a PowerPoint presentation to thousands of people potentially. The three that are ticked are the ones that tend to be the most effective. So broadly speaking, the outline that you would do, and there's a reason why I'm showing you all this in a second. You can use Zoom. Don't do any more than 90 minutes. Avoid all the fluff. I know we've all been on webinars before, haven't we, where we get half an hour of introductions and fluff. Don't do that. Just get on with it. Yes, tell them a little bit about you and your story. People want to know that. That's why they'll continue to stay with you the whole thing. Be specific, have an explicit benefit in the title. And we can't cover promotion today. I haven't got time. There's a certain way to promote it. So if I was putting on a webinar on how my internet marketing clients can use webinars, this is the title I'd use. How my internet marketing clients around the world are using webinars to predictably generate quality inbound new client inquiries. That's about as explicit a title as you can get. You model it for your own market, yeah? A typical agenda will follow this. Welcome, hi, ask people to stay to the end. Say, if you stay to the end, I'll give you a freebie, whatever. Explain who this is for. Thanks for joining us today. This webinar is for health professionals in Johannesburg who are worried about their retirement income. Then briefly, but always explain you and your journey. Get them to hook into you. Who are you? What do you care about? What shaped you as a person? What brick walls did you have to climb over? Explain the market summary. Break down their belief patterns. You already know the objections or the questions that they're going to ask you. So for example, if you're going to do a webinar on the benefits of equity release, you know what objections people are going to have. So cover those off. Put some common myths in there, but also don't make it too rosy. Say, yeah, this approach is right for this type of client, but it's not really right for this type of client. A couple of case studies, include your freebie, and then invite them to a free consultation call. However, this is really important. You don't want any time wasters after this. So you want them to, what you'll actually say at the end of your webinar is book a call, and then maybe you're using a scheduling tool, manage and set expectations. And what you do is you actually say at the end of your webinar, this is what will happen when we talk in that call. This is what will not happen. I'm not going to try and sell you something. Here's what I will need from you. In other words, I need you to be serious. And what you could even do is say, I want you to agree to this. Yes, I understand the primary reason for meeting with Sue is to find out if there's a fit between my needs and what she offers. I confirm that if Sue and I agree that working together is a good idea, I'm ready to start whenever. I'm aware that Sue will not charge a fee for the call, but that her fees are XYZ. Okay, this filters out the time wasters. What you want is to do a webinar that results in you having a predictable flow of high quality prospects. That's what this is about, yeah? Content, I mean, when I put on webinars, I've always got a bunch of ideas of what I think financial advisors are going to want to hear about. Turns out most of the time they don't want to hear about that. But when I take the trouble to actually ask them and say, if I'm to put on a webinar, what would you like to hear about? They give me the ideas. Simple. Here's another reason to write down every question that every client ever asks you, because it gives you content for webinars. And another thing you can do, there's a great website called answerthepublic.com, which is a website that kind of collates every question that's ever asked on search engines. So if you go to answerthepublic.com and you type in, say, pensions, it will show you in a very beautiful way every question that is ever asked about pensions on search engines. And that will give you just a wealth of content that you could put on a webinar about. This is a really interesting way of marketing. There's a great book about it by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask You Answer. Well worth getting at some point. So I'm going to ask you, what could you teach your clients in an added value way, but which is also a marketing tool? What could you teach them that is also a marketing? What expertise have you got that you could share, but which educates them at the same time? So an article is a great way of doing that. A blog is a great way of doing that. A book is a fantastic way of doing that. A webinar is seemingly a proven way of doing that. And I get not everyone's going to feel comfortable doing a presentation like that. That's absolutely fine. So a nice way to do it is just pre-record it before it goes live. So if you think it's crap, you can do it again. So practice before you start going live. That's what you could do. Really do that live. So we're about there. The point about this educational piece: use LinkedIn to send people to your added value educational piece of marketing. In those messages that you send to people, and those conversations that you have with people on LinkedIn, your webinar could be their final destination. It could be the place. You could say to them, the majority of my connections on LinkedIn, or the majority of my clients watch our monthly or our quarterly webinar on XYZ. You should join us. When you do, you'll get a freebie. Use LinkedIn as the top of your funnel. A lot of people talk about funnel marketing. It's the most fun. That's the way to do it. The idea that you could be on LinkedIn and out of the blue, you will get people saying, "Hi, Jason, I spotted you on LinkedIn. Could you do my pension planning for me?" That does happen, but pretty rarely. What we really should be using LinkedIn is to position ourselves as credible experts with a heart, start conversations with them, and send them where you want them to go, to your webinar, to your book on Amazon, to your blog, or even to your scorecard. That's where I send everybody now. If they're on LinkedIn, I figure they're going to want to learn how to use LinkedIn properly. So I send them to my scorecard. They take the test, they get the result, they get some tips, they get a free download, I get their email address. And that's how we do this. We're about there. So if anybody's got any more questions, and this doesn't need to end now. If you've got any questions at any time, my email address is philip@philipcalvert.com. Just drop me a line anytime you like. More than happy to have a chat. More than happy to have a chat. So I hope you found this useful. I know you're going to get a copy at some point, but thank you so much for coming along today. Really appreciate that. I hope we've managed to answer pretty well most of your questions. I'm just looking through the list. I can't see anything that we've obviously missed out. But if there is something, you've got a question that you don't want to ask in front of everybody else, just drop me a line. Okay. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Philip.
Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks very much, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
I'm definitely going to connect with you on LinkedIn, and I'll definitely give you the thumbs up on those on your skills, because like I really it's so difficult to get this information. So thank you so much. It was
My
fantastic.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Brad.
Cool.
Really appreciate it.